Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take the information you're curious about, dig into it, and pull out what really matters.
Yep, that's the plan.
And this week, we're actually heading back to Vero Beach, Florida, trying to get a handle on its specific real estate market.
That's right. And for this, we've been looking at insights provided by a local expert there, Tripp Hernandez with Dale Sorensen Real Estate. He really gives us that on-the-ground perspective.
Yeah, which feels important right now. You hear these broader headlines about Florida's market maybe cooling off a bit, rising inventory, prices may be dipping.
Definitely seen those stories.
It makes you wonder, okay, but what's actually happening in a place like Vero Beach? Is it the same story?
Exactly. And that's the core thing, right? Real estate is just so hyper-local.
Yeah.
What happens in, say, Miami or Orlando isn't automatically true for Vero. It's got that coastal vibe, lots of second, even third homes, a different kind of pace.
It feels like it might react differently to those bigger market pressures.
It often does. So where should we start? Maybe inventory. That seems like a big driver of price.
Good idea. So statewide, the talk is more homes available. Is Vero Beach seeing that?
Well, yes and no. There was a slight year-over-year increase, but it was pretty small, like only 84 more homes across the entire market.
Okay, 84 homes? That doesn't sound like a flood.
Not really.
Right.
And what's actually more telling, I think, is the recent trend. Since March 1st, inventory in Vero has actually been decreasing week over week.
Oh, interesting. So any initial rise is being, like, absorbed.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Buyers are picking up those listings. It's not this picture of homes just piling up unsold.
Okay, that counters the narrative a bit. What about new listings? Are sellers rushing to put homes on the market there?
Actually, no. The opposite seems to be true. The peak for new listings in Vero was way back in January.
January.
Yeah, and it's dropped every single month since then. Get this. April saw 20% fewer new listings compared to April last year.
Wow. Okay, so definitely not being overwhelmed with new properties coming online.
Not based on this data, no.
Okay, so if supply is, relatively stable, maybe even tightening a bit, what are buyers doing? What's demand look like?
Okay, yeah, this part is fascinating. And it really pushes back against that cooling idea, at least for Vero. The National Association of Realtors, they reported pending home sales were up nationally in March.
Right, I saw that, about 6%, I think.
Yeah, 6.1% nationally, and the South did even better, almost 10% up. But Vero Beach, it just like blew past those numbers.
Really? How much better?
Okay, so according to Broker Metrics data, pending sales, that's homes going under contract, jumped almost 23% from February to March.
23%. Okay, that's strong.
But wait, then from March to April, a massive 71.1% increase month over month.
71%.
In 1 month, 71.1. Tripp Hernandez mentioned it was their busiest month in nearly 2 years.
Wow.
Right.
What's driving that kind of surge, especially in Vero?
Well, a few things probably. Mortgage rates have been bouncing around, near 6.8% lately.
Still feels high to some people, I guess.
Sure, buyers are definitely sensitive, but for perspective, the 50-year average rate is actually higher, around 7.7%. So historically speaking, current rates aren't outrageous.
That's a good point. Historical context matters.
No, it does. And maybe Vero's specific buyer pool you mentioned, the second homes, retirement focus, perhaps they're a bit less sensitive to rate hikes than, say, first-time buyers in other areas, more stable financially, perhaps.
So the takeaway is, even if some buyers nationally are waiting on the sidelines for a big price drop, Vero Beach seems to have a really active, stable market right now.
That's exactly what the data suggests. It just hammers home how different local markets can be. You really can't paint Florida or anywhere with one single brush.
Absolutely. And if you listening have specific questions about the Vero Beach market dynamics,
then Tripp Hernandez at Dale Sorensen Real Estate is definitely the person to connect with. He's got the local pulse.
For sure. You can find Tripp on his social channels. It's at Tripp's My Realtor. That's TRIPPS, My Realtor. Reach out if Vero is on your radar.
Definitely worth doing.
So a fascinating picture in Vero Beach. Join us next week. We're actually heading a bit further south down the coast to Delray Beach. We'll be talking with realtor Eric Ring to see what's happening in that market.
Yeah, it should be interesting to compare another coastal spot, see those local nuances again.
Exactly. See you then for another deep dive.